Thanks.
David, over here. David, come this way.
How are you? Nice Ottawa morning. Going inside.
Are you excited?
I will see what happens. Thank you.
Volunteering, I didn't want to wear shoes. John, so where it's at? I got long johns on right now.
David I believe it's just one
Philpott.
I'll look forward to talking to you about it afterwards.
Could you give us a smile on the wave, ma'am? To the cameras, please.
Hi.
Thank you. Seamus! Seamus! Give us a smile on the way for a camera, sir.
focus, guys. Camera outside, is it? No. Okay.
Yeah, my hands are freezing and I got it.
When you come back, you might just grab my
Oh, you mean your coffee?
It's tea,
I was like, look, man, I understand, you know, when you're camping, you're cold, you have a flask.
yeah, well, no, like the thermos.
Not whiskey flask.
That's related.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I saw Amar's thing that he wanted me to maybe do something. Usual practice was if that happens, I'm going to have to like hang around here for like an hour and a half.
I'm going to help her out.
Oh, look. So all I need to do, I think, is once stand up here. And like, why do I don't really need to do anything on cameras, just to stand up here.
And then just
I think I'm just going to tee up this week's cabinet review. To prepare for the fall sitting, the last legislative agenda, blah, 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 blah. As to what I want to do, and then oh, come on. Are we getting those? That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Actually, you know what? Look at this.
We already have them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Good. No, I don't see it. Oh, no, he doesn't have time. Well, he just wants to test your light. Unbelievably cold, and it's, almost snow. Yeah, try it now. Yeah.
You guys know these things? I think you guys know these things. So yeah, we got Philpott, O'Regan, they're already in, Lometti's already in, so we're waiting for Raybould and Bernadette Jordan. Do you guys know what Bernadette Jordan looks like?
We're just doing non-reported hits.
And you're like, bother me when I need to know. I get it. I get it.
No, we got Tom and Kim.
And
if he gets out of the car, that's the first.
oh, I know where it is. I got it.
Hey Chris, who's coming? Yell it in?
Look at that. Let's stick his head in the window and go.
inanimate objects don't pick up heat the same way that like my arms do, or this on my hand feels warm, and then like. No, but they're reflective inside, so they are actually quite warm. The heat reflecting stuff. Sorry? Yeah, I'm not sure.
9 November.
Yeah. Yeah, they arrived like last week or so good time. I mean, I've got a big heavy brown one that's down. That's pretty. Right now it's like moving. Pretty warm.
Hey, I'm just calling in for Ford for Michelle Boyce.
Hey guys,
I think
this
it's
is Ryan
CQ4,
outside.
but this was the number of.
Hi, I'm just wondering from the list, do we know how many ministers are left? Just so I'm just wondering who I should be looking for now, because I don't think there's too many more.
Yeah, what's the 4 letters?
Bernadette Jordan. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. I'll do your thing.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe she snuck in, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'll be on the lookout for her just in case. Okay. Thanks. You haven't seen her yet. Okay. Great, thanks. I'll see you, bye.
Since you're to the side, since you were
That's okay. I mean, it's chilly, but it's
so I'm pretty sure I heard Chris.
Hey guys, sorry, I just missed that. I was just off Medicine. I spoke with Chris Rand from CBC. Apparently, Bernadette Jordan already inside. She would invite the backwards. So we're good for outside for now. I'm just
Hello. Well, truck, you guys dialing an IP for That's on. Gilmore. Rachel.
I can be here. What do you need? I was on la discussion.
Did we see Bernadette yet?
No,
Okay.
no, we haven't seen her. She may have gone in through another door.
Thank you.
Are you going inside? Yeah, the guys are on the table. You can't have two on the
Hey Jenna, 54321, 54321. Good morning, CP24. Am I doing another station after this? Okay, sure. I'll step out. Bump shot in 1 minute out of headlines. Oh, keep me. Okay. Oh, bless you. What have you been drinking at this hour? Sorry, I have to keep my clothes warm. You should go warm up in the truck. Okay. It is 8:30. We are 15 minutes away.
But, okay, when this starts, you guys have to go inside to warm up, right? You get to go inside.
I don't think I do because I need to tail it on your morning because
Yeah, but go somewhere where it's
I'm
warm.
on the truck now.
You too. No, you're not going to stay out here throughout this bullshit thing.
What they pay us today. These guys do it all the time.
Oh, yeah, right. Hey, tout le monde veut rentrer à l'intérieur, c'est maintenant. Anybody who needs to go inside is... Hey, Rachel, anybody going inside for the ceremony? It's now or last chance.
Hey,
we have to go through the metal detector.
Mind if I break away from the camera for a little bit? I'm just going to go inside. Okay, I'm just going to go to the washroom and I'll be back in about. Thank you.
Gilmore, can you take a picture of the news release and send it to News Channel Editorial, say under embargo?
yeah.
And maybe online producers?
Are you going to hold it?
Yeah, I'd like to.
I'll do it after.
Yes.
Take the chips of ice off your mustache.
Oh, okay, sure. We're 4.5 out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want to break the wire. I don't know if it's too cold for it. Oh, we opened the toes.
It gets better the more you use it.
The more I see?
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep for half an hour.
Yeah. Everything's cold.
Oh my God. It's so cold, my charger lightning cable broke off. That was like freaking $120 charger. I will expense another. My boyfriend was watching CBC because he saw me in the shot taking video. It's already been sent out. Yeah.
Veteran move.
90 seconds? Yeah. One minute, that's forever in TV land. Sorry, I'm just gonna gather my... Gilmore? Jody, why would you say she would be demoted? I have something in mind. Here we go. Yeah. That's right. Scott Brison resigned as president of the Treasury Board, also leaving political life. But as you pointed out, yes, there is going to be a domino effect. We've confirmed that Minister Philpott, formerly of Indigenous Services, is actually going to be moving to fill that vacancy as president of the Treasury Board. Also, Seamus O'Regan is at Rideau Hall right now. He walked in just a few moments ago with his partner. He is said to be taking over the file of Indigenous Services from Veterans Affairs. So, you know, yesterday I had heard from a number of sources that there were going to be two new additions to Justin Trudeau's cabinet. One to fill the vacancy, or the hole left by Scott Brison, but another actually new minister. I could tell you that so far we've also seen Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould walk in. She is rumored to be going to be filling the role as Veterans Affairs Minister, also as the second, I guess you could say, the right hand to Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan. And we've also seen David Lametti. He's a law professor from McGill University in Montreal. He's a Quebec MP. So, you know, if we're deducing who's here and what roles they could be filling, he could become Canada's next Attorney General.
One better? 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah. Exactly.
I know, right?
To replace that one? More than enough volume then? What? Lots of volume? Okay.
Yeah, well, this all happened because Scott Brison did leave, and really what Justin Trudeau is doing with his minor cabinet shuffle is really setting the playing field for what is going to be an election year. He needs the right people in the right jobs. You know, if what we were just talking about, and unfortunately we don't have that diagram to show you, but, you know, Jody Wilson-Raybould, if she is indeed heading to better
But the one that laid off? Yeah, I never did. I don't know. I'm gonna sell myself before I sell them. But although I did, yeah. I mean, I do refer a lot of stuff to them because it's hard to deal with people and get paid. And I know. Take that out of the equation, an agent. Yeah. I did a week-long conference in Toronto, not last year, the summer before, and I passed it off to them. I was going to get a firm date and all this, and how they were going to handle it, were they going to give me a hotel room and all this. So it was still the day before they were leaving because they were going to start the conference here and then bus everybody down to Toronto. Yeah. Passed it off to them. Said, because once they said, okay, we're going to have you talk to our lawyer and we'll get a contract. I don't have a lawyer. Yeah. Well, a lot of them, ASP's Canada. The only one's EPA. The States and Bloomberg.
What's up with this? Are they like what?
Don't know. I haven't contacted them. I forgot. Next time something comes up, I should. I have an alert for state visits. I should. But luckily I've been busy with other stuff. So.
worries.
I should have told you right now. There's an AC in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Moved it over just a little bit. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I know. I thought about doing that. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna put in some clips of the photographs. You follow it? If you have it, follow it. Still talking on the phone. Okay. Yeah? I take mine off silent then too. Might as well. Like, yeah, sort of thing, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So why I missed it. This one doesn't have silent.
So you'll be here.
Okay.
So Gary's gonna actually have to be there because these guys are going in front of the door. So we just wait there for the beginning, Gary. And then once the Gigi's in, once the Gigi and the PM go in, you guys move to there, and the aide de camp will move the mic, and then Yuri shifts to the corner, and Mr. Warnick is right there.
We'll be gone when he comes. Yeah. We'll be
On va devoir changer.
Merci.
Good morning and welcome to Rideau Hall. Bonjour et bienvenue à Rideau Hall. To begin this swearing-in ceremony of members of the 29th Canadian Ministry, please rise and welcome the ministers designate, the Prime Minister, and the Governor-General of Canada. Pour débuter cette cérémonie d'assermentation des membres du 29e Conseil des ministres canadiens, veuillez vous lever et accueillir les ministres désignés, le Premier ministre et la gouverneure générale du Canada. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. The clerk of the Privy Council will now seek the Governor General's consent to proceed. Le greffier du Conseil privé demandera maintenant à la gouverneure générale la permission de procéder.
Excellence, pouvons-nous commencer? Excellency, may we proceed?
With the Governor General's approval, we will now proceed to the ceremony. Maintenant que la gouverneure générale a signifié son approbation, nous procéderons à la cérémonie. The ministers who are privy councillors and who are changing responsibilities will please come forward to take the oath of office. Les ministres qui sont membres du Conseil privé et qui changent de responsabilité sont priés de s'avancer pour prêter le serment d'office. The Honourable Jody Wilson-Raybould, Minister of Veteran Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence. L'Honorable Jody Wilson-Raybould, Ministre des Anciens Combattants et Ministre associé de la Défense nationale.
I, Jody Wilson-Raybould, do solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will truly and faithfully, to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as a Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence.
The Honourable Jane Philpott, President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Digital Government. L'Honorable Jane Philpott, Présidente du Conseil du Trésor et Ministre du Gouvernement numérique.
I, Jane Philpott, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Digital Government. So help me God. Moi, Jane Philpott, je promets et jure solennellement et sincèrement qu'au mieux de ma compétence et de ma connaissance, j'exécuterai loyalement et fidèlement les pouvoirs et je m'acquitterai les responsabilités qui m'ont été confiées en qualité de présidente du Conseil du Trésor et ministre du gouvernement numérique. Ainsi Dieu me soit en aide.
the Honorable Seamus Thomas Harris O'Regan, Minister of Indigenous Services, l'Honorable Seamus Thomas Harris O'Regan, Ministre des Services aux Autochtones.
I, Seamus Thomas Harris O'Regan, do solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Indigenous Services. Moi, Seamus Thomas Harris O'Regan, je promets et déclare solennellement et sincèrement qu'au mieux de ma compétence et de ma connaissance, j'exécuterai loyalement et fidèlement les pouvoirs et je m'acquitterai des responsabilités qui m'ont été confiées en qualité de ministre des Services aux Autochtones.
The ministers designate who are not members of the Privy Council will please come forward to take the oath of allegiance, the Privy Councilor's oath, and the oath of the office. Les ministres désignés qui ne font pas partie du Conseil privé sont priés de s'avancer pour prêter le serment d'allégeance, le serment des conseils privés et le serment d'office. Monsieur David Lametti, ministre de la Justice et procureur général du Canada. Mr. David Lametti, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada.
Moi, David Lametti, je jure fidélité et sincère allégeance à Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II, Reine du Canada, et ses héritiers et successeurs, ainsi Dieu me soit en aide. Moi, David Lametti, je jure solennellement et sincèrement que j'agirai en fidèle et loyal serviteur de Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II en ma qualité de membre du Conseil privé de Sa Majesté pour le Canada. J'exprimerai fidèlement, honnêtement et en toute vérité mon sentiment et mon opinion sur toute chose traitée, débattue et résolue en Conseil. Je tiendrai secret tout ce qui me sera confié ou révélé en cette qualité, ou tout ce dont il sera traité secrètement en Conseil. J'agirai en toutes circonstances, comme il convient, un fidèle et loyal serviteur de Sa Majesté. Ainsi Dieu me soit en aide. I, David Lametti, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, so help me God. I, David Lametti, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council for Canada. I will in all things to be treated, debated, and resolved in Privy Council faithfully, honestly, and truly declare my mind and my opinion. I shall keep secret all matters committed and revealed to me in this capacity, or that shall be secretly treated of in council. Generally, in all things, I shall do as a faithful and true servant ought to do for Her Majesty, so help me God. Moi, David Lametti, je promets et jure solennellement et sincèrement qu'au mieux de ma compétence et de ma connaissance, j'exécuterai loyalement et fidèlement les pouvoirs et je m'acquitterai des responsabilités qui m'ont été confiées en qualité de ministre de la Justice et procureur général du Canada, ainsi Dieu me soit en aide. I, David Lametti, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. So help me God.
Ms. Bernadette Jordan, Minister of Rural Economic Development. Madame Bernadette Jordan, Ministre du Développement économique rural.
I, Bernadette Jordan, do declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors. I, Bernadette Jordan, do solemnly and sincerely declare that I shall be true and faithful servant to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council for Canada. I will in all things be treated, debated, and resolved in Privy Council faithfully, honestly, and truly declare my mind and my opinion. I shall keep secret all matters committed and revealed to me in this capacity, or that shall be secretly treated of in council. Generally, in all things I shall do as a faithful and true servant ought to do for Her Majesty. I, Bernadette Jordan, do solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister for Rural Economic Development.
The Governor General, the Prime Minister, and the Clerk of the Privy Council will now sign the oath book. La gouverneure générale, le Premier ministre et le greffier du Conseil privé apposeront maintenant leur signature sur le registre des serments. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude the ceremony, please join me in congratulating the members of the 29th Canadian Ministry. Mesdames et messieurs, pour terminer la cérémonie, applaudissons les membres du 29e Conseil des ministres. Thank you for being here today at Rideau Hall. In a moment, you will be welcome to move into the adjoining room for a light reception. May I ask that you please rise for the departure of the Governor-General, the Prime Minister, and the members of the Ministry. Merci de votre présence ici à Rideau Hall. Dans un moment, nous vous inviterons à procéder dans la salle adjacente pour une réception. Veuillez vous lever pour le départ de la gouverneure générale, du Premier ministre ainsi que des membres du Conseil des ministres.
You want to remove one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't need this
tray?
beautiful
Okay.
tray.
Okay.
Very nice. Actually, and I don't. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, good.
That'll be covered there. Look, yeah, let's get in the selfie. Get come on. Okay, someone's face is on it. I need a longer arm.
There you go. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, I love it. Can I post that?
Yeah. Yes, you must post it.
This is when they were still. Is that okay? Yes. Oh, yeah. How long did it keep us out here? The Lord High Story.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Rideau Hall. We just finished making changes to our cabinet. Before I get into these changes, I want to say a very sincere thank you to my friend and colleague Scott Brison, who's leaving government to spend more time with his family. Scott has been a pillar of our party and our government for many years now, serving most recently as President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Digital Government. He will be missed, and we thank him for his service. Aujourd'hui, nous continuons à travailler pour la classe moyenne. Nous redoublons nos efforts de façon à assurer que la force et la croissance de notre économie et à faire en sorte que chaque Canadien et sa famille aient une chance réelle et égale de réussir. Depuis le début de notre mandat, les Canadiens ont créé plus de 800 000 emplois d'un bout à l'autre du pays. Et le taux de chômage est à son plus bas depuis 40 ans. En tant que gouvernement, nous avons l'intention de nous appuyer sur les progrès réalisés pour les Canadiens et poursuivre la lancée. First, Jane Philpott, who has delivered tremendous results for Indigenous peoples across the country, will be replacing Scott as Treasury Board President and Minister of Digital Government. Jane is a natural choice for this role, having previously served as the Vice Chair of the Treasury Board. Seamus O'Regan is our new Minister of Indigenous Services. Seamus's compassion and advocacy will help us as we walk the road of reconciliation with our Indigenous partners. A leader in our cabinet, I know he will work tirelessly alongside Minister Bennett to bring about real change for Indigenous communities in this country. Jody Wilson-Raybould becomes our new Minister of Veterans Affairs. From modernizing how we appoint judges to bringing in legislation around medical assistance in dying, Jody has demonstrated tremendous skill in navigating very complex files. As a government, we owe a sacred duty to the Canadians in uniform who have long served our country with heroism and valor. With her experience and tremendous leadership, Jody will ensure our veterans receive the care and support of a grateful nation. David Lametti devient le nouveau procureur général et ministre de la Justice. David est un membre essentiel de notre équipe depuis le début de notre mandat. En tant que secrétaire parlementaire, il était d'abord responsable du commerce international et ensuite de l'innovation, de la science et du développement économique. Laissant une carrière juridique et universitaire impressionnante en 2015 pour servir les Canadiens, David est connu non seulement pour ses analyses légales, mais aussi pour son mentorat de jeunes leaders à travers le pays. And finally, we welcome Bernadette Jordan to the cabinet table as our Minister of Rural Economic Development. Since 2015, Bernadette has been a strong voice for South Shore St. Margaret's. More recently, She served as a trusted parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Democratic Institutions. She will be a great addition to our team. Now, the Minister of Rural Economic Development is a new cabinet position, and it'll play a major role in the lives of rural Canadians and their families. When our team travels across the country, visiting communities big and small, we hear all the time that the challenges facing rural and urban Canadians are very, very different. Access to reliable high-speed internet, driving distance to the closest childcare centre, pulling together funding for infrastructure projects. These things might not be top of mind if you live in a city of 1 million people, but they can be a daily struggle in a town of 500. Les petites villes qui n'ont tout simplement pas les mêmes défis que les grandes villes. Il faut donc adopter des approches différentes si nous voulons obtenir des résultats. C'est pourquoi nous avons créé ce poste. Ainsi, les Canadiens qui vivent en milieu rural bénéficient de l'appui et du soutien dont ils méritent. C'est un jour important pour notre gouvernement. Alors que nous disons au revoir à un visage familier, nous accueillons de nouvelles recrues et redoublons nos efforts visant à faire croître l'économie et à aider les familles et les travailleurs de la classe moyenne. Encore une fois, merci d'être des nôtres ce matin. Je suis maintenant très heureux de prendre vos questions.
Bonjour, M. Trudeau, Fanny Olivier de Radio-Canada. Jody Wilson-Raybould perd la justice. Est-ce que c'est parce qu'elle ne faisait pas bien le travail? Et c'est un poste important. Pourquoi la changer comme ça à seulement 9 mois de la fin du mandat?
On sait d'abord que le travail que Jody a fait au niveau des grands dossiers qu'elle a chapeautés pendant 3 ans a été exceptionnel. Et on a besoin vraiment de quelqu'un de très fort pour livrer pour nos anciens combattants. Les anciens combattants méritent quelqu'un qui va savoir comment continuer le bon travail qui a été fait pour eux et continuer le travail délicat en matière de politique entre la défense et les anciens combattants. Et j'ai énormément confiance qu'elle va continuer de faire un travail exceptionnel comme elle a toujours fait.
Dans un autre dossier, un Canadien vient d'être condamné à mort en Chine pour trafic de drogue. Est-ce que vous allez tenter d'intervenir en sa faveur et qu'est-ce que ça signifie sur l'état de nos relations avec la Chine, ça?
C'est ce gouvernement, d'ailleurs, qui a changé la politique en matière de la responsabilité du gouvernement fédéral de toujours intervenir en matière de la peine de mort outre-mer. Nous avons et nous allons continuer d'être là pour défendre les intérêts de tout Canadien qui se voit soumis à la peine de mort. C'est très inquiétant que la Chine commence à agir de façon arbitraire pour appliquer la peine de mort, surtout sur un Canadien. C'est quelque chose qui nous préoccupe énormément et que nous allons continuer de souligner avec nos alliés et évidemment avec la Chine. As a government, we actually strengthened the policy that requires the Canadian government to always intercede on behalf of a Canadian facing the death penalty anywhere in the world. We will continue to do that as we have in this case. But I will say it is of extreme concern to us as a government, as it should be to all our international friends and allies, that China has chosen to begin to arbitrarily apply death penalty in cases facing, as in this case, facing a Canadian.
Hi, Prime Minister. Chris Ryan, CBC. Happy New Year. Jody Wilson-Raybould, what did she not accomplish in her mandate letters to see her moved over and down into Veterans Affairs, please?
I would caution anyone who thinks that serving our veterans and making sure they get the care to which they are so justly entitled from any Canadian government is anything other than a deep and awesome responsibility. The challenges of continuing to move forward on making sure that our veterans and their families are properly supported, and our capacity to continue to close the seam in terms of working between Department of National Defense and Department of Veterans Affairs will require a deft and steady hand in the Ministry of Veterans Affairs. And Jody Wilson-Raybould has demonstrated through her ability to navigate through difficult files, whether it's on on medical assistance in dying or reform of our criminal justice system, that she is extraordinarily capable of delivering on this file that is one of the core delivery mandates that the federal government has.
And Ms. Jordan, sir, she is Atlantic Caucus Chair, moving to a portfolio where she will move around a lot. Will she be able to help you buttress Fortress Atlantic Canada? You hold all the seats. Surely some of them may fall in the next election. Is she your stopgap to keep as many as you can?
Bernadette Jordan is an extraordinary leader who's been able to step up time and time again in defense of her community, in defense of the interests of Atlantic Canadians. She's been a very strong parliamentary secretary, and she has consistently delivered on everything we've asked of her. She was chosen by her fellow Atlantic MPs to be Atlantic Caucus Chair, and I know that she is going to be an extraordinary voice for rural Canadians, not just in Atlantic Canada, but right across the country, in a way that we know matters deeply to Canadians.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau, Michel Lamarche, TVA. J'aimerais vous entendre sur cette grosse promotion accordée à David Lametti au ministère de la Justice. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire pour le Québec à quelques mois des élections?
Nous reconnaissons à quel point David Lametti a une intelligence juridique bien démontrée dans une carrière et en tant qu'avocat et en tant qu'universitaire. C'est quelqu'un qui a toujours été très présent dans les cercles juridiques au Québec et au Canada, et nous sommes très contents de pouvoir lui confier cette tâche importante pour nous. C'est un exemple un petit peu de la profondeur dans l'équipe que les Canadiens ont élue en 2015. On avait beaucoup de très bons choix pour venir remplacer et faire partie de notre Conseil des ministres suite au départ d'un ami qui a livré de façon excellente en Scott Brison. Alors, je pense que c'est très important d'avoir des voix un peu de partout au pays, et David, par son travail, par son vécu, va nous amener beaucoup de force en tant que procureur général et ministre de la Justice.
Sur cette jeune Saoudienne, Raaf Mohamed Al-Kounoun, qui est arrivée au Canada ce samedi, vous ne craignez pas de l'instrumentaliser? Et qu'est-ce que vous dites à tous ceux qui font déjà la file pour pouvoir entrer au Canada en tant que réfugiée, puisqu'elle peut arriver avant tout le monde?
D'abord, nous avons travaillé avec les Nations unies et le commissariat aux réfugiés des Nations unies qui nous ont fait une demande précise et spécifique dans le cas de Raaf El-Kounoun. Nous savons que c'est un cas un peu exceptionnel, mais le Canada sera toujours là pour aider les gens en situation de difficulté. Par rapport à son arrivée, nous sommes très, très contents qu'elle soit arrivée en sécurité, et nous sommes en train de l'appuyer et de suivre ses désirs dans la façon qu'elle vient.
Bonjour, M. Trudeau. Marie Vastel, le journal Le Devoir. Dans votre relation avec les communautés autochtones, on voit que vous avez fait l'objet de pas mal de critiques qui se sont amplifiées, surtout dernièrement. Vous faites accuser de ne pas prendre cette relation ou cette réconciliation au sérieux. Quel message est-ce que ça envoie de changer de ministre en charge des services autochtones, de mettre M. O'Regan à ce poste-là en pleine exécution du mandat?
D'abord, il fallait qu'on fasse un remaniement ministériel parce que un de nos ministres a choisi de quitter pour passer plus de temps avec sa famille. Donc, ça a exigé quelques changements. Mais je sais d'abord que Jane Philpott va être extraordinaire en matière de livrer en termes de président du Conseil du Trésor, mais aussi nous devions de trouver une très bonne personne pour remplir ce rôle que Jane laisse libre. Et Seamus, par sa capacité d'avoir livré sur les anciens combattants, par sa compassion, par sa connexion avec les communautés autochtone qui a eu quand même une certaine expérience quand il était jeune vivant au Labrador. Il va pouvoir continuer de livrer et de démontrer que c'est une relation qui est primordiale pour ce gouvernement. Il faut se souvenir que les deux endroits où le gouvernement fédéral a la responsabilité de livrer des services, c'est en termes d'anciens combattants et en termes de communautés autochtones. C'est deux priorités pour moi et je suis très content d'avoir des ministres extrêmement forts et capables dans ces deux rôles-là.
Et sur Mme Jody Wilson-Raybould, je comprends que vous essayez de présenter ça comme un mouvement latéral, mais il reste qu'on entend depuis des mois que, de la part de gens dans votre gouvernement, qu'elle a sous-performé. Il y a beaucoup de libéraux de votre gouvernement qui étaient déçus. Comment ne pas comprendre aujourd'hui que ces gens-là avaient peut-être raison?
Nous sommes très fiers du travail que Jody Wilson-Raybould a fait sur des dossiers très importants et délicats au fil des années de ce gouvernement. Mais nous savons aussi que nous avons besoin de quelqu'un de très fort pour continuer le travail aux anciens combattants et je sais que Jody va faire un travail exceptionnel. We know that anytime we lose a strong performer in cabinet with Scott Brison's decision to step away, we have to make sure that we fill that role with great people. And obviously, Jane Philpott is a natural choice with her capacity to have delivered on Indigenous services so well over the past years, means that she will deeply understand the delivery that is core to fulfilling the role of President of the Treasury Board. And therefore, we needed someone strong to fill the seats on delivering of services, the seat on delivering of services to Indigenous peoples. We know that there are two areas in which the federal government has direct delivery responsibility. That's for our veterans, and that's for Indigenous peoples, and that is where we are putting tremendous emphasis as a government. Seamus's strength in delivering significant improvements to veterans over the past years has demonstrated his capacity to get things done for Canadians, and his strength and compassion, his experience and interactions with Indigenous peoples as well throughout his life will help him in terms of making sure that this government is living up to its responsibility to fix the most important relationship we have with this government, that with Indigenous peoples.
Hello, Prime Minister. Christy Kirkup from the Canadian Press. Just circling back to China, I'm wondering if the move around the death sentence for the drug smuggling case, would you classify this move as an escalation in the diplomatic tensions between Canada and China?
We are extremely concerned, as should be all countries around the world, that China is choosing to act arbitrarily, whether it is an application of its own justice system to its own citizens and people around the world, or whether it's in its choice to not respect long-standing practices and principles in regards to diplomatic immunity. This is something that everyone should be alert to, and certainly something we as a government take very seriously and will continue to engage strongly with China on.
Just on another topic, Seamus O'Regan moving into Indigenous Services, I'm wondering if there was any reason to give pause to that decision based, with all due respect to the Minister, he is a non-Indigenous white man taking over this portfolio. So was there any reason to consider that factor as you were putting him in the role?
Jane Philpott has done an extraordinary job as Minister of Indigenous Services. Indigenous Services and Veterans Affairs are two of the areas in which direct delivery by the federal government needs to be done right and is an important responsibility. And I know from the tremendously positive experience and abilities that Minister O'Regan demonstrated at Veterans Affairs that he is going to continue to fulfill this fundamental responsibility for this government of delivering on reconciliation, on real services, on the kind of support that Indigenous peoples right across this country deserve. Reconciliation is not just about a government and Indigenous peoples. It's also very much around non-Indigenous Canadians doing their part as well, and that's something that we recognize.
Hi, Prime Minister. Janice Dixon, The Globe and Mail. Minister Freeland welcomed Rahaf, the young Saudi refugee, this weekend. Is your government going to consider welcoming more women fleeing violence from that country?
Canada is always ready to stand up for human rights, always there to defend women's rights around the world. We are a country that continues to provide asylum to people who are fleeing violence, persecution, war, and oppression. We will continue to look for opportunities to demonstrate that we will consistently defend the most vulnerable in the world.
Last question.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Joyce Napier, CTV. We're 10 months away from an election campaign. How much did that play in your sort of moving around your major players?
I think one of the things is recognizing that this entire shift happens because we are losing a very strong and valued player who is choosing to spend more time with his family, and we wish Scott all the very best in his decision and in his next steps. But this really is an illustration of the depth of bench strength that Canadians sent to this government in 2015, and we're very excited about being able to show how we step up as a team. And this opportunity to put strong performers in important files and continue to demonstrate our capacity to deliver on a broad range of priorities for Canadians with great people in place is part of the exciting thing about what I get to do as Prime Minister and working with this amazing team. Nous savons que quand on perd un ministre exceptionnel comme Scott, les autres membres du cabinet doivent être là pour prendre des nouvelles responsabilités. Ça souligne à quel point on a une équipe extraordinaire que les Canadiens ont choisie en 2015. Et c'est aussi pour moi un reflet de l'opportunité de travailler avec des gens vraiment exceptionnels et au sein du caucus et aussi au sein du cabinet des ministres.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde.